In this video, I just wanted to show where the measures of center are in StatCrunch, although this is going to be a whole lot more relevant with a data set. So the Chicago taxi fares data, that shows up in the section 3.1 notes, and I've got it right here. So what I'm going to do, and let's see, the one that's in the notes, I can make this match up exactly. So it's the cab fares. So that's my column B here, which I'm going to copy. So Control C, and then I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to select the heading for where I'm going to paste, because there was a heading in the spreadsheet in Microsoft Excel. So by selecting the heading here, I pasted the heading from there into the heading in StatCrunch. And that way it doesn't show up like it's a value, which would clearly throw things off, right? If everything else is a number and then you're getting some word in there. But then how do you actually get the mean, median, mode, and all that stuff? Well, it's the drop-down menu that's called Stat. And then if you go from there to where it says Summary Stats, and then selecting columns, because I have all the taxi fares in that first column, the only option it's going to give me is fare, because that's now the heading of this first column. And then it has a default of what you would get, which is a whole bunch of stuff. I guess you could have the mode if you wanted it, but you have to turn that on. So like you'd have to pick it. Typically for quantitative data, you probably don't want that. You probably want like the mean and or the median instead. There are other things in here, like there's a way that you can quantify how skewed something is, like left skewed or right skewed. Kurtosis is kind of like skewness but vertical. That's kind of a weird one, actually. But I think everything that you would probably want is already going to be in the default. The only one that I think you could argue for maybe is the interquartile range, but if you already have the two quartiles, you would get the interquartile range just by subtracting anyway. So I'm just going to leave it with the default setting and just show you what you get. So if I click on compute, notice what you get. You get your sample size, right? That's what n is. There's the mean, and then down here is the median, and everything else has to do with spread. So like the variance and the standard deviation, where the standard deviation is the square root of the variance, that is going to show up in section 3.2 actually. And so do the quartiles. Like Q1 and Q3, those are the first and third quartiles that would show up in section 3.2. And if you're going to use those, then you're probably using the 5-number summary, which would be the minimum, then the first quartile, then the median, and then third quartile, and then max. So all of those show up in this output, where then if you had a question where it's, here's a data set, find the 5-number summary, you have all of the pieces of the 5-number summary in here, and you just have to put them in the right order. But as usual with StatCrunch, it is a drop-down menu. So just once again, to go through it real fast, it's Stat, and then Summary Stats, and then you pick your column out, which here I only have one option, and then Compute, and you get all of the summary data that you're probably going to want.